Hello, my name is Ganesh Sharma. I serve on the board of directors for Storytelling Arts of Indiana, and it's Pride Month. And so in honor of Pride Month, I would like to share a story. And if you had told me 20 years ago that this would have happened to me, I would have said absolutely not. But the story goes, my partner and I were building a house in Indianapolis, and it took the better part of 2 years from the time we decided to build to the time we got the keys and moved in. And so we're a few months out of the house being finished, and it's a Friday afternoon, and it had been a long week, but during the day I get this call from my partner, Greg, and he says, hey, Pat called. Pat's our builder, and he needs to meet us Friday he needs to meet us this afternoon to show some things that deviated from the house plans, and they've already almost finished the construction, and we need to go and see how bad the changes are. And so, of course, I'm now not in a great mood, and I get home from work, and I basically make this vodka soda in a red Solo cup, and I basically go to this meeting with my builder and holding a roadie. And so my husband, our dog Louie, and myself, we were living in a townhome just a couple blocks down. We were renting it while the house was being built. So I'm walking down the street, I'm sipping my roadie, I'm thinking about how much more is this house going to be delayed. I want to move in, I want to get settled. And so we get to the house that we're building. We enter from the back door, and I'm walking around the garage and through the back hallway, and Louie's 50-pound golden chow mix jumping around. I'm just roughhousing with him and sipping on my roadie. And I notice Greg isn't with me. And so I go to the front of the house, and I find him kind of standing by our front windows towards the front of the house. And as I turn to him, I was like, where's Pat? And as I finish the sentence, I hear footsteps coming from upstairs. So I'm like, well, he must be upstairs. And so our staircase, you can still see through the steps because it was only framed out, but you could walk down the stairs. And, nothing, no drywall, just wood planks, plywood floors, not finished out yet. But I see these 2 feet and these 2 legs coming down the stairs. And the first thing I thought of was like, wow, Pat's wearing some really baggy jeans today. And, if you see Pat, he's this older, dresses really nice, kind of slender build, lean looking. The carpenter jeans weren't his style. But I see this full body, and it's not Pat, our builder. It's our friend Steven, who lives in Phoenix. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's just got this smile on his face. And just after that, I start hearing more footsteps. And then I start seeing these other feet and these other legs. And one by one, it's all of our close friends. And they're all smiling at me. And now they're surrounding me. And I'm thinking, is this an intervention? Are they going to are they trying to keep me from drinking? Like, what's going on? And so I turn to Greg, and he's smiling at me, and then he says, do you want to get married? Like right now? And I turn back, and I see our friend Jeff, who's one of the last people to come down the stairs. He walks towards Greg and I turn back and look at Greg, and I see these 2 rings he's holding in his hand, and I turn back to Jeff, and he's got his black book now open. At this point, everything becomes blurry because I'm crying. I may have also been getting a little tipsy because I hadn't eaten all day, and I made a pretty strong vodka drink. So I look at Greg and I said, what did you do? And he looked at me and said, is that a yes? And I said, yes, of course. And in full transparency, that's about almost all I remember in terms of what was said. I don't have a recollection of the vows other than they were written down, thankfully. But what I do remember is looking around, seeing all of the faces of our friends. I remember the feeling of the ring going on my finger. And I remember our dog looking up at us. And I think if he spoke with a human voice, he would have said, I just love my 2 daddies right now. And we're still in our home. We have a wedding photo that sits near where we exchanged our vows and where I sat my red Solo cup on the floor.